Good afternoon, everyone. So I request Anmol Jalota to present and take forward the panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Junior. Just give me a moment, guys, while I share my screen. Namaste and welcome to this panel discussion today that we are going to have on a very, I would say relevant, but then I would also say very hot topic. We are going to be discussing about two very, very important things that are a part of the IT industry today, one being testing, the other being agile. And we've kind of amalgamated both, and we would want to talk about testing in an agile framework. We have a very distinct panel of panelists here, basically who are going to share their thoughts, their opinions on what they think about this whole testing and agility thing. And these are people who have been in the industry for quite some time, hold some major positions in middle senior management, and they are all here to just discuss what we think is going on in the market today and what are our opinions about the same. So quickly, we'll do a round of introduction before we start with the discussion. So my name is Anmol Jalota, and I have over 16 years of experience. I'm currently working as a senior project manager in one of the firms based out of Florida. I kind of manage deliveries for multiple projects, accounts. I also do program management. And I have worked with major clients in setting up their COEs, the testing COEs, and kind of consolidating the COEs and all. So that's my work profile as always. Uh, Moving forward, um, we'll give it to Ankur.
Hey, hi. Thank you, Anmol. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Ankur. I'm carrying about 16 years of experience across testing. So primarily testing and some experience over in component development. I'm currently working for a insurance product-based company called SSP worldwide, where I'm managing client projects as well as the testing as a practice. And currently, what we're working on is like implementing non-functional testing across all projects. So that's the focus area we're focusing right now. And my expertise is on building up my knowledge on agile as we work and non-functional and automation testing. And I'm currently managing both models of delivery, agile as well as waterfall. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ankur. Devyani.
Hi everyone, thanks Anmol. A very good afternoon to everyone. I am Devyani. I have around 13 years of experience in the industry, and currently I'm working with one of the leading food service providers in the country. And rather, I would say it's a food technology service providers because technology is the enabler for our business. And I'm heading the QA function for the IT department. And previously, I have worked with TCS and Infosys. So I've had the exposure of working with both services as well as product company. And during my 13 years of career span, I have worn many hats, including tester, test manager, QA consultant, process transformation consultant. And I've helped many organizations in understanding their as-is processes and finding out the opportunities for improvement and setting a roadmap for them in order to adopt agile and to transform into agile. So this is about the various roles which I have played, and I've had global exposure, and I've had exposure to various domains, including life sciences, retail, BFSI, consulting firms. I'm looking forward to the panel discussion today and sharing my thoughts over here.
Thank you so much, Devyani. Moving on to Ravinder.
Hey, thanks, Anmol. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Ravinder Singh. Currently associated with ThoughtWorks India Private Limited as a QA consultant. Majorly, apart from the normal delivery stuff, we are into the agile and the QA consulting that currently I'm involved with a financial client. Apart from that, throughout my tenure of roughly 13 years, I started my career as a developer, moved into multiple domains, Worked into different kind of works, be it people manager, be it program manager, working into the QA manager stuff, delivery stuff, and again back into the consulting at the moment. So from this forum, I'm looking for a healthy discussion and surely looking forward to learn something from all of you. Thank you.
Definitely, Ravinder. Thank you so much. And the last but not the least, we have Sachin Sharma.
Hi, thank you, Anmol. Namaste, everyone. My name is Sachin Sharma. I work as a senior test consultant in United Health Group. It's one of the leading healthcare technology provider company across the world. Talking about my experience, I have worked for a very different domain, very interesting one, and the craziest one. So just like diamond manufacturing was one, then there is something which is very close to everybody's heart, that is a food delivery, pizza delivery system. Right now I'm working with the domain which is close to every part of body, that is healthcare system. So I have sort of experience with this domain, and that's why I got a chance to work with different mindset of people. Had worked with the testing team and different team like Scrum teams, and all the capabilities were there. Also got opportunity to engage in an assignment where I was a change agent to transform a company from waterfall to agile. That was a transformation. So yeah, I mean, that's what I've been doing. So this testing and agile, this been very close to my heart, and that's why I am looking forward to have a great discussion. So thank you very much for having me. I'm looking forward to have a good discussion here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sachin. I'm going to now stop sharing my screen since we have all the introductions done. And back to the discussion, guys. So first of all, before we start, I would like to give a very heartfelt thank you to everybody who's logged in with us today, people who have taken out their precious time on a Saturday to come and listen to what we have to say. Guys, there's just one thing that I want to make very, very clear right at the beginning. Whatever we are discussing today are just our thoughts, you know. Since all of us have been in the industry for quite some time, worked on multiple roles, like people say, you know, we've been, so like Devyani stated, you know, being a tester to a test manager to, you know, and then somebody's a program manager and stuff like that. So we've seen how the industry has moved in terms of testing. We've seen how the industry has moved in terms of being agile. So, you know, there are people like you've just heard Ankur say that, you know, he's still working on some projects which are still in the waterfall, you know, fall on the waterfall side of things. So there's going to be a very diverse experience here, and people are going to bring in their thoughts and opinions of what they've faced in their lives. And, you know, there's one thing I'd like to start by saying just one quote, which I really, really like. It's by Albert Einstein, who says, if you can't explain it simply, you know, if anything you can't explain it simply, then probably you don't understand it well enough. And we are going to put across everything in a very simple conversation manner so that everybody is able to relate to and understand what we are saying. Your takeaways will totally depend on what you want to take away from this discussion. No mandates. We are not forcing our thoughts on you. But yeah, we would like you to have certain takeaways from this whole discussion. So thank you very much once again, and welcome to this awesome chat that we are going to have. So starting right away, you know, I'm going to get right into this. Since we are talking about, you know, the topic for our panel discussion says testing in an agile world, basically. From each one of you, you know, I would like to understand what testing and what agility mean to you individually. You know, if you were to give your two thoughts on what testing is and what agility is, what would it be for you? Why don't I start with Ankur?
Thanks, Anmol. So Anmol, as probably testing, definition of a testing or what someone means from testing is like, various people would define it a bit differently, but I'll probably say it's a process enabling delivery of an acceptable quality product. And coming to agility, it's being open, being receptive to feedback, being applicable not only to software industry. It's like something that can be fit into different processes, different delivery mechanisms. it helps in like bringing things left, moving things left, so that you can uncover any challenges of it before, not waiting till the very end, but bringing those challenges left and giving you ample time to resolve them.
Thank you, Ankur. I think that makes sense. We're talking about the shift left here, and we started talking about heavy things right at the very beginning. So we'll come to, we'll probably discuss a lot more on shift left when we move on. So what do you say, Devyani? What about you? What do you think testing and agility mean to you?
Yeah. So thanks for the question. Agility, I think, as the name suggests, it's responding to change and responding quickly to change and adapting to the changing world. So we all are living in a VUCA world these days. Volatile, it is volatile, it is uncertain, complex, ambiguous. So we have to adopt to the changing world, and what better example can there be than adopting to the COVID pandemic? The organizations which were so reluctant in giving work from home to people have quickly adopted it within weeks, and like every employee is working from home, right? Another example which comes to my mind is my own organization, which is into delivery of food. But because of this pandemic, we thought, how can we help the society? How can we use our existing delivery network? And we got into delivery of essential items. So I think agility is all about the thought process. Starting from the senior leadership to the junior most member in the company, everyone has to be agile. This is what agility is for me. And talking about testing, we all know there are quite a few bookish definitions that it has to meet the customer expectations, the requirements, that is there. But for me, being in a customer-centric business, it is totally about customer. How my customer will think. What kind of scenarios will the person apply while placing an order? So for example, if there's a person in a warehouse who's using the POS system, that person is not very IT oriented, right? So what kind of application should we build which helps him in doing his daily task? So it has to be user friendly. The daily end-to-end flows should be very easy to manage. So that is testing for me, centered around the customer and the end user.
Thank you, Devyani. Two very, very pertinent points here. One is the custom centricity that we're talking about, which of course then kind of is one of the values that we, attach to agility also here. So, and adapting to change, so you don't have a set pattern. You want to adopt and adapt pretty quickly. Fair enough, Devyani. Ravinder, your thoughts on the same?
Thanks, Anmol. So I would completely agree with Devyani. It's more around, it's a thought process, or if apart from ThoughtWorks, I would say both of these terms are kind of a mindset, right? So testing itself is a mindset and agile itself is a mindset. Goals can be a bit aligned, can be a bit different. Testing is more around like we are thinking about our customer. If I have to deliver the quality, obviously testing comes into picture. Agile gives the how early I can deliver with a proper feedback, with a proper delivery out there. So both the things are more around centered towards client, that whatever my clients want for beneficial of that client in a cost-effective way, if I can deliver both of the stuff, that's more around a mindset. So implementation, execution, and all those, that depends on organization to organization, what they consider testing and what they consider agile. But finally, what matters is what you are delivering to the client. So what mindset you adopt for the delivery, that matters. And I relate these terms there.
Thank you, Ravinder. And very rightly said, it's a mindset. And I think a lot of people agree with it, because when I also talk about agility to a lot of people, I say it's a mindset, and so is testing. And we'll discuss probably more on how it is a mindset. Sachin, let's hear your views on what testing and agility means for you.
Yeah, thank you, Anmol. I think this is very fundamental question that the discussion should start with only this, because this being the banner or the title of the discussion. So for me, testing and agility is exactly same thing. I'll tell you how. So first of all, testing is from the definition that I have, testing has 4P: the planning, preparing, performing, and perfecting for the quality of an application. That's what testing is. You start from planning and then you end with the regression. That's what perfecting of the quality. But in the world, like Devyani said, in the world where we are facing a lot of uncertainty, there are a lot of things which are complex. The scripted things will not be a testing. You cannot script and test things. The word will be exploratory testing. Now, the problem is exploratory testing is miserably misunderstood term within the industry itself. So I've been talking to a lot of testers during these days. I'm part of a community called The Test Chat, where we have a lot of testers across the world, and we discuss about a lot of things. So what we came to know that exploratory is not what is mentioned in the 4th chapter of ISTQB. It's actually something which is a phenomena. Exploratory means exploring in all the aspect of testing. For example, if you're creating your test strategy, you have to explore a lot of test strategies, say what will work for you, combine them and make your strategy. Exploration. If you're making your plan, you have to explore a lot of things, explore about what will be the risk. That's what testers do. They identify, explore risk. So you have to explore those things and make your test plan. If you're writing test scenario, you have to explore a lot about the product, the domain, the customer. So altogether, it's an exploratory testing. So exploration in your testing process. When it comes to this term exploratory, it's essentially means you're doing and learning things. So that's the testing idea that I have for testing. Please hold that thought of learning and doing things. Now come to agility. When it comes to agility, the fundamental difference between agile processes and the orthodox or traditional model or framework is, in orthodox model, these guys were so confident that they knew everything in the beginning of the project. They know everything, requirement, customer, market, advantage, everything. They freeze that requirement, coding is freeze, and testing is freeze, so they know everything. Unlike to that, agile people, they understand that we don't know everything in the beginning. How we'll do it? So we'll do, then we'll learn. Then we'll do, then we'll learn. Now go back to the definition of testing. Testing, learning, testing and learning. What is agile? Doing, learning, doing and learning. That's how it is same. So for me, testing and agile is exactly same phenomena, considering about the process that we follow. That's all I can take about it. Yeah.
I think that's all. That's quite a perspective, that it's basically learning and doing. I once read somewhere that one test is worth 1,000 expert opinions. And I think we as testers all agree to it. There might be hundreds and thousands of opinions that people might make on a product, but testing is what, will give you answers in a jiffy, whether your opinions and everything is working or not. And then when you're talking about agility, there's one thing that I really believe in, and I think that's how agility kind of defines itself. What I think is that cooperation, basically there's a saying which says that cooperation is a thorough conviction that nobody gets there unless everybody gets there, right? So, and that is what agile teaches us, I guess. One of the biggest things that I myself like about agility or following the agile framework or methodology or whatever is the inclusion. This framework has kind of brought everybody together. One point that Sachin said that initially at the beginning everybody thought we know everything, and they kind of went and distributed tasks. You do this, you do this, you do this, and everybody do your own work in silos. Agility has kind of taken that away. It has brought in inclusion. It goes with the thought process that if one has to reach a success, a goal that is called as success, everybody has to reach there together, So I kind of believe that too. But thank you for your insights, guys. Very valid insights. So when we talk about this and moving on, organically, I think there's another question which kind of pops in my head and which is very, very important here. We've seen that all of you have said that in some way testing and agility are interlinked. There is some intertwining there. For Sachin, there's a major intertwining. For others, there's a little bit of intertwining, but it's there. So what I would like to understand is that we've talked how or what the linkage is, but how do you think it actually helps in getting to successful deliveries? So if I say I have a very agile mindset and I am a tester, how do you think that mindset drives me towards better deliveries, more successes than failures? Ravinder, maybe if you could start with this.
Sure, Anmol. So I think it can be in the continuation of the discussion that we are doing, right? You mentioned inclusion. So Obviously, with agility, that inclusion has come and that has helped the QA. So earlier it used to be a cycle of SDLC where QA start when developers hand over them. But now the testers are involved from the day one when we are discussing the requirements with the BAs, when we are discussing the requirements with the stakeholder. So that inclusion has actually given that overall picture and the benefit to the QA. It is actually giving that place to the QAs that now we can speak throughout the whole cycle. So that particular stuff, putting the guys earlier. And the second thing that I differentiate out here is now we don't have the major concept of the QA or the dev team. At least I practice that. We do have the delivery teams, right? Finally, everyone is responsible for the delivery. That it is not just QA who is responsible for the quality, it is everyone's responsibility these days. So that inclusion has actually bring out and put that space in place that now QAs are involved from day one. They are actually that valued member who are into the overall cycle of the delivery. And same I would consider for the other parts of the team, be it BA, be it program manager, or be it developers. Now, if we find a bug on the production, I doubt that we go and ask to a QA why the bug was being skipped. It is everyone's responsibility. So I consider that as an inclusion that has agility, gives such a place for everyone.
Fair enough, Ravinder, and you're right, and a very important point again that you made is that quality is everyone's responsibility. We just can't shirk our responsibility and put it on the tester anymore and say, okay, since we don't have a product which is up to the customer expectations or working well, we don't have a scapegoat now. we have all the scapegoats now. So fair enough. Ankur, what do you have to say to this?
Anmol, I agree with what Sachin explained and how well he explained that, okay, we test, we learn. So I'll say we test, we see what went wrong, what went well, we incorporate the feedback, and then we move to the next task that is to be tested. So that summarizes or being like agility, being there in the way you work. So that is a very good explanation. And I'd like to add that what happens is like when we learn. So when we learn, we know, okay, what things went wrong, what went well. So we incorporate that learning in the next thing that we do. And what also happens along with this is we start thinking about things which happen towards the very end. What I said in the beginning was like bringing things towards left. So one beautiful or a very useful example that I'd like to cite over here is like we usually, what happens is if someone thinks about like if someone is working in waterfall, so we reach a significant milestone, then we probably include non-functional testing. So what we have done in one of the projects is that was after a hard learning. So I'll first start with the hard learning. So everything was developed. So the project went into performance testing. Everything was very good, apart from one service which was not able to handle even like 20% of the volume. Everything else was very hunky-dory, and that led to a major change in the architecture, and that caused a significant cost. So what we have done post that is, while we are developing our products in R&D itself, we incorporate performance testing after each sprint. So what happens is people start thinking about the non-functional requirements also at the very beginning, because these are kind of things which are left towards the end. People don't think about it, and it's a half-hearted thought towards performance testing. So when you start doing performance testing in the very beginning, so people start thinking about what should be the non-functional requirements. I'm talking from a product perspective, because products are built and then sold. We don't know what would be the volume. So we get the results at the very beginning, and we can say that, okay, the forecast can be probably these results can sustain us for 2 years, or probably 5 years, or probably on day one, it would be really bad. So, so agility helps in bringing issues which would be left for the very end towards like either the start or the beginning or the middle of the project. And also what happens is, as and when we refine the user stories, so the QA thinking thought process is a bit different from developers. So I've seen in quite a few instances wherein it has led to user stories getting more elaborated, which would have brought a significant change towards the end. But because of how we would have tested it, we are bringing things, or we are bringing that level of information in the user stories at the very beginning of the sprint. So that helps in having things left for the very end to be sorted, to be bought a bit before. So yes, and another aspect which comes to my mind right now is what happens is, as Ravinder said, it's more of a team, not a set of developers, not a set of QA people and BAs. So what happens is, I've seen quite a few testers move into different roles. So what happens is, people working in teams. So you get to learn newer things. Because there might be that, okay, for a sprint, person X is not available. Probably a DevOps person is not available. So it's the same thing it's the same team who has to deliver things for the next 10 days, 15 days. So I've seen quite a few people learning new things, quite a few testers moving into DevOps, learning DevOps skills, or probably becoming Scrum Masters. So it also gives you an opportunity to learn new things and progress your career.
Okay, I think quite a few relevant points here, Ankur, and the inclusion and where you start very early and how it helps you. But I think before I move to others to talk about the same question, you kind of brought in another aspect to it, where you said that people kind of move away from testing into other roles.
Yeah.
Although what you said was probably, if you're having a team and not a QA team or a dev team, to have a self-sufficient team, you sometimes say that it's good that people kind of transition into other roles, right?
Right.
I would also, when people are answering the other questions, I would also like to understand their opinions on whether they really think that testers should kind of diversify into other roles, or they should kind of stick to testing, or do what they are good at. So that is also why, please pick it up when you are talking about this. But again, before I move forward, okay, I'll come back to it later, Ankur. I have another question for you, but I will come back to it. So let's have Devyani answer this question. What the first one? Of course, how agility is helping the QA success stories. And if you think, we need to move on from testing or diversify from testing to succeed or to move up the ladder or something like that.
Okay. So regarding the first question regarding QA having an agile mindset, I completely agree with what Ankur and Ravinder have mentioned, that, and also my viewpoint is that the QA is the voice of the customer. So it is very important to shift left, be involved right from the requirement gathering phase or the user story review phase, and voice out what the customer wants, because then only it will be incorporated in the product. If QA is involved later, once the product has been developed, and this has been happening with me, I've seen this in multiple organizations, that once the walkthrough is given to QA, the product is already developed. And then QA being, having an end-to-end view of the whole system, QAs have a kind of, they can think of negative scenarios also. They can think of complex scenarios also. Whereas what I have observed is that developers are more focused towards the happy part. So if they give those complex scenarios at the very beginning, it will be incorporated in the product right from the development stage, and the bugs can be caught at unit testing stage itself. So once it comes to QA, like Sachin mentioned, the importance of exploratory testing, we can actually use that exploratory testing during QA testing. Otherwise, everyone will be focused towards testing the happy flows and delivering the product, because again, faster time to market is also very important. So agile mindset is definitely important. Like, for example, let's say, I'll give an example of an e-commerce website. If a customer is ordering, there are various ways to make the payment. There can be multiple payment modes. There can be coupons which can be applied. There are various discounts which are there. You have to think about refund scenarios. I don't think so many, even BAs can think about it, but a tester tries to break the system. So agility is very, very important in a QA mindset, and they have to be on the top notch, and they should be involved right from the beginning so that they can make everyone aware about this. That is my first point. Second thing you said about successful deliveries. So I will say like both of them mentioned, Ravinder and Ankur, I think everyone will concur to this, that QA is not the quality gate. Everyone should own the quality, including development, BA, and I would say operations as well. Why not? If everyone comes together, there will be multiple heads working towards making a successful product. So why not involve everyone from the starting itself? And the other point regarding the roles, the various roles, which are, do you want me to answer that question now, or shall we take it up later?
Please. I mean, do you think that we should diversify? Do you think we have a short-lived career as testers?
I don't think so. See, there are so many roles a tester can perform. Firstly, you have so many capabilities. You know the product end to end. You have complete domain knowledge. You have product knowledge. You can become an SME in the domain or in the product, or you can grow in QA career also. And earlier it was thought that QA is restricted to manual testing. It's not like that anymore. We are much more technologically advanced. Like in my team, QA does everything, starting from the environment setup to testing to UAT, and then once it goes into production, then handling those scenarios as well, helping the end user also in understanding what the product is. Sometimes they give training as well. So we wear so many hats. I think there are so many options open in the QA line itself. You can be a QA manager, you can be a QA consultant, you can get into process, you can be a product manager, which is a very nice role to be into these days. And if you want to shift, I think QAs typically are very meticulous and they're very good in planning. So they can get into project management also. They can be a program manager, a QA manager handling various accounts. I don't think there's a restriction to the opportunities which we all have.
Thank you, Devyani. And I heard, you talk about getting into product management role, but then again, somewhere we are diversifying from a role. But that's, I kind of concur with what you're saying. Just adding on to it before we move on to Sachin. Sachin, when you're answering this question, do you think the CXO positions are open for people who are from the testing background? Okay, and you can start with your thoughts here.
Yep, sure. So first of all, I'll take care. I'll not use the word manual testing because I see Brijesh Dev and Faiz Modi are there. So just make ourselves safe, saying that okay, there's nothing called manual testing. First of all, so these two are very deep questions, and I have to answer it very subtle. I will take 30 extra seconds. So first of all, what agility is bringing to QA teams, and what do you get if you are agile as a tester? So first of all, the topmost education institution for testing in India, they say that testing has 7 principles. Okay, and agile also have 12 principles and 4 values. So what I see is if you follow agile way of working, you're actually adhering your traditional testing principles. One of the principles says early testing. Third principle of testing. Now, early testing is if you are following agile process, for example, Scrum, you actually started doing early testing. Now, people will debate on in V model also we were doing early testing. There is another model where early testing. So early tester is different thing. Early testing is different thing. Asking a tester to write test case, that means you are involving a tester. Do they doing testing for it? No, they are not. But in agile, from the first day they start testing the concept. You know the framework of 5W and 1H that Brijesh has presented in one of the conference. It's like you have to ask why, what, when, where, how from the first day. That means you are testing actually. You're not as a tester sitting in sprint planning meeting eating pizza and coffee. No, you're actually started testing. So first of all, we are actually adhering testing principle if you are following agile. There's another principle called pesticide paradox, right? You cannot execute same set of test cases, otherwise you'll not find defect. So in agile, if you meet with a lot of people, how you expand the horizon of your testing is to talk with another perspective, to talk with, collaborate with people who are BAs, near to customer, who are developer, near to technology. And that's how you expand the horizon of testing. So I think these are the principles that we are following when we are doing agile. Now, why this is needed? Why? So agile is a mindset. You can call it as a weapon. How you incorporate it into your process, that's the utilization of that mindset. So process is very important. The total quality management says that the quality of your product is genuinely determined by the quality of your process. If you have good process, you need not to take care of quality of your product. It will definitely come. And I'll take you to the ancient Vedas that we have in Hindi mythology. I think most of the people everybody is from India, so they will relate this thing. In Vedas, it's written in Sanskrit. It says, Pathe sati gadarthasya bheshaj grahanin kim, Pathe asati gadarthasya bheshaj grahanin kim. I'll tell you what does that mean. If somebody is taking care of his diet, he does not need medicine because he will not get sick. If somebody does not take care of his diet, he does not need medicine because anyway he's gonna sick. So if you're not taking care of your process as a diet, you did not to have this technology, that tool. There will be a problem in your product. But if you're taking care of your process, you doesn't need anything. Your people will work for you and they will ensure the better quality across the industry. So it's very important. That's about why agility and how agility helps. Second question that you asked, it's very interesting again. Tester, it's a, what you call, short future journey, that it's going to, it's really not. First of all, any domain or any skill or any job does not have such kind of thing. You remember right now we are seeing Mahabharata and Ramayana. There's these two fat guys, they have this pankha and they are doing this in Ramayana days. Do we see that guy? We don't see. But does the process gone? Fan is still needed. We need that process we want. We don't need that people. So testing is not going anywhere. Testers are going. If you're a tester who believe in reading requirement, testing it, opening defect, regression testing, green sheet and sending it to, that's not testing. So if you're not adopting as per Darwin's theorem, you're brilliant, you're strong, you're intelligent, you will not leave. If you're adaptable, you will still sustain there. So you have to understand this. I mean, there is one more example, I mean, which I definitely want to talk about is when my father left his home, he went to Maharashtra for a job. He used to write a letter to his father. Then after 10 years, it changed to telephone. Then after 5 years, it changed to mobile. And now it is on WhatsApp. The medium is changed, but the content is Pranam Pitaji, Bado ko Namaskar, Choto ko Ashirwad. It's same. It's how beautiful the understanding should be that testing or any process that you're doing will never go anywhere. And just want to conclude it on this sentence that quality is not going to be out of fashion anytime. QAs are needed. Stay in this industry, excel in this same field, don't go anywhere. Pradeep Soundararajan is the CEO of a company. He is tester. There are a lot of people who are CIO of the company. They are tester and they are proud to be called as a tester. So if you want to be CEO, wink, wink, still be tester.
I love the wink, wink. And you know, so I'm just summarizing, and I think there's some very, very beautiful things that you said here, Sachin. And you know that example that you gave about the health. I think in general terms we use another variation of this, which is called "Poot suput to kyun bachaye, poot kuput to kyun bachaye." Right? So it is, if you have a good son, then why save? You know, the parents generally they have a tendency of saving money. So if you have good children, why save? They will take care. And if the child is bad, I mean, is into gambling or stuff like that, then why save? Anyways, whatever you're going to leave him is, you know, going to go down the drain. And that's true. Right? And I love the other version of it, the Sanskrit shlok. And then, so thank you very much for that, first of all. And, you know, when I ask this question, and we totally understand how agility is helping the QA, because there's a very simple line which kind of defines it. You know, it says that continuous improvement is always better than delayed perfection. Simple as that. You know, I might work on it at the end. I might try, you know, once I've got something ready with me as testers, I might try and beautify it, make it okay. But if I have been trying to do it right from day one, you know, I think that is always better than getting to the end of it and kind of rectifying the situation. And the last thing that, you know, we talked about, do we actually progress to better roles? And you gave the example of Pradeep Soundararajan, where you said he's a CEO, and there are many others like him. I think the best thing that a tester has, and that's my perspective completely, is that mindset, the critical mindset. You know, when I talk to my team, I give them one example and I'd like to share it here. I know we're running short in time, but one small example. So I tell them what exactly is testing. You know, that the simplest way of what is testing. My daughter, who's 15, she would sometimes come and ask me, Mom, what does testing actually mean? Zero interest in computers, minded. But yeah, so she asks me, and how I explain it to her is that, you know, I am using a product. There is something available in the market, I'm going to use it. And I have a certain mindset on how I'm going to use it. Simple as that. You know, I will do certain things with it. I have a phone, I would want to use it to make calls. Simple, right? What Sachin also said. Now, there's another person, somebody else would pick it up and probably just want to do browsing on the phone. The third person might just want to do WhatsApp. The fourth person might just want to click pictures. So one product, multiple mindsets, multiple ways of using it. As a tester, what I do is, here, I try and replicate those mindsets. Simple. I cannot know everything. For me, I cannot know everything about a product. The only thing I can do is put myself in the shoes of other people and just understand that when this product goes to their hand, what will be their usage of the same, you know. And once I'm able to do that, I'm trying to make that product. See, testing, like we said, multiple definitions, Devyani said, but the only thing that we are trying to do is make a robust product at the end of the day. Make in the sense, help Arvid. Making is done by the development team. We are helping creating it into a robust product there, right? So I think that's what we mean by continuous improvement, and that's where agility comes into view, and that's where we say we can always get on to bigger roles because we have that mindset, and that mindset helps in running companies. So yeah, so I think we've touched upon quite a few chords here. So, you know, moving on, the question that I really wanted to ask Ankur about, and when I said, you know, we'll come back to it, is we've seen all the positives that agility is bringing to the deliveries, to QA, since we're talking about testing right now, but it is bringing those positives to almost every facet of your product life cycle, you know, everything. But Ankur, since you are also currently working in a waterfall space, you know, you have a project which is currently into that space also. Do you see that if we are not following the so-called agile methodology, do you see that there is an adverse impact somewhere? Maybe your deliveries are not as good as they are meant to be, or you're facing some challenges which you probably do not see on the agile side of things. So I'd just like to understand from you, definitely.
Right. So, Anmol, what we're doing is we're following agile in R&D. So what it, as I guess Ravinder or someone mentioned, that in waterfall, what we say is we know everything what we have to develop. We know we have developed everything, and to a certain extent correctly, and we are testing. We know everything what we have to test. So what happens in R&D is during a product development. So what happens is the product manager would just have a vision that, okay, yes, that's the next set of features that we have to build. Or it might be just probably, if I talk about insurance, I've spent like last 7 years in insurance. So insurance in say connected cars or the smart cars, that's gonna change. I would not go as an individual and insure my car, because if there is a crash, if there is an accident, it's not because of me. It's because of the software in the car that led to the crash. If I'm driving the car, I know when to apply brakes, when to accelerate. But when I'm sitting in the car, it's probably, I do have control, but if I put it in an autopilot or any mode that you say that, so it's the software of the company that's providing all these inputs to the car, right? So this is, we are not working on this, just to say that, but what would happen is the way people would buy insurance would change. I, as an individual, I'll not go and buy insurance. It would be the car maker who would buy the insurance probably 5 years down the line. Because if the software malfunctions, there's a crash, it's not because of the driver. And actually, it's because of the driver, and the driver is the car itself. So if any company which is working on an insurance product, we can't, things which are not existing right now, we don't know what exactly we have to build. We'll probably build a prototype and see how people assess it, how the markets assess it, how the insurance companies buy it. And then because I don't have that vision 100% right now, I'll probably build something, launch in the market, see how it goes, then probably the next iteration would go on. So in R&D, I believe this is Agile is helping us very much to uncover the details in a good fashion. But we're using waterfall in client projects because what happens is the client mind changes too frequently, as what we have seen. So if we go in and what people want is, what the customers need is, they're moving towards more of a fixed time, fixed cost contracts. So we can't be too agile over there because if things keep changing every day, the fixed price costs or contracts don't work in that case. So that's a major reason why we are having like a distinct way of working in R&D as well as client projects. So they two are different branches and two different streams of revenue for us.
Well said there, Ankur, because yes, we might, and I think Sachin once put this point forward, and I'm sure he'll put it again, but he said within every waterfall, within every agile sprint, you're doing waterfall,
Exactly, yes.
Of every agile sprint, you're ideally doing waterfall there, only you're picking up, somebody's developing, then you're testing, then you are implementing, and stuff like that. Yeah, but you're right. There are different kinds of projects which require a different mindset to work on, and that's very true. And why I will not take up this question with others is because I know Sachin would say he's not really worked on anything which is waterfall. We've had this discussion before, but quickly, yes, no, I would not leave it. So quick points here, Devyani, first you. Do you think any adverse impacts of not going agile?
Yeah, so I completely agree with Ankur that certain industries require that you might not be agile in certain industries. It has to follow waterfall. But for sure, if you are not, see, there are two principles which companies usually look at, two metrics which companies look at. One is faster delivery to market, and second is reduction of cost. So if you don't follow agile principles, these two metrics are going to be hampered. It might get hampered because if you find a defect later on in the cycle, it will increase the cost of fixing the defect and it will increase the cost of delivering a project. And faster time to delivery, of course, if testing is at the end, then you will find bugs later. You will find out scenarios much later, which could have been incorporated earlier. Then this will reduce the speed of delivery to the market. In Agile, since we know there are shorter cycles, we keep on delivering a working incremental software. We keep on getting early feedback from the clients, from the customers, from our business. We can keep on incorporating that and improving our product in itself. So keeping these two principles in mind, I would say agility is a must. And right, as Sachin said, we have to continuously improve. So I would relate it to few famous sports persons like Virat Kohli or let's say Lionel Messi. I think there's a common connection. Even they are constantly focused on continuous improvement. And that's what we as an organization, as a team should also focus on. Continuously improve our processes, make them faster, and see how can we reduce the wastage, how we can be fast and innovate.
Fair enough, Devyani. Ravinder, quickly your thoughts.
I would like to quote an example first, even before starting, right? A decade back, I was working with Adobe, and we used to deliver a software in 2 years. And it used to go in the CD and DVD. So we all has used these Photoshop, InDesign, and all those tools, right? They used to come in CDs. And something has gone, that is gone. Development start this year. First 6 months, we as a testers, we just used to play cricket. No work, nothing comes in our picture. Frankly, a luxury job out there. But think from a customer perspective, one bug has gone and they have to wait for a couple of years out there for that particular bug. And that's where they start dropping out their market. And there actually comes that innovation, that how you can reach to your client as early as feasible. And that's what Agile has put it, okay, innovate some way that you can meet your customer requirements. Innovate some way that you can reach your market as early as feasible. And now Adobe delivers its software on cloud and they do their releases on a weekly basis. Now, to the second point that Sachin was mentioning, whether we are doing agile somewhere, so we are doing waterfall in the Scrum. So for that, it's more around a customization, right? Each team, I think someone has put in the chat also, right? Whether it is client driven, whether it is time driven, whether it is the principle. See, finally, agile says it's a certain set of principles, right? Now you customize it as per your need, as per your market. What is the ask? Frankly, I haven't seen in my career any team who has implemented agile as it is as the principle says. Because it's more around a fitment out there, right? You cannot say, okay, this is the straight line, you draw it and you use it. No, every customer is different, every client is different, every skill set is different. So considering all those things, it is just a guidance. Use that guidance for a better delivery, for a better quality delivery. But no doubt, QAs can always take benefit of this because this gives them benefit. Now this is a single team, get involved from the starting itself. So utilize it, I can just say for the QAs, utilize it as much as you can.
Great one there. Sachin, I will come to you, but since Ravinder was talking about something, and there's something, I would want to take in continuation to what you just said. Since all of us have kind of come through that time, we've always seen that for quite a lot of years, testing has been the stepchild of the IT industry, So I think we've been fighting a lot about the kind of respect that we deserve and we should get. But yeah, so my question here is to you, Ravinder, is that when these agile principles must have been written, some few years ago, do you think when they were making these principles or these values or this entire thought process, they had the QA in mind somewhere? Or was it, they were all developers and they got together and thought, okay, what is going to go best for the development team and let's figure out some principles and all? Or do you think somewhere these people always thought that, we have something called development, something on testing, and we want to cater to both the fields? So you think we were given that place of honor or we weren't? We are just kind of tweaking it and using it for us?
See, frankly, as per my knowledge of Agile and as these principles, Agile is not specific to the IT industry out there, right? We do have multiple industries which uses Agile practices. Agile is not just Scrum, Sprint, using Jira and delivery. Agile is more around following that practices, that how exactly you can have a quick feedback, how you can be a self-organizing team which can deliver to your client as early as feasible. So it's more around related to delivery. So I doubt that there was something, a term called as developer or tester in their mind at that moment when we were the people who are developing these particular principle out there. But yeah, like I'm mentioning again, it is more about a customization of these principles that everyone has adopted as per their needs. And they have surely given that place and importance. No doubt, I even agree that we as a QA have to make our place, we have to make our value realized to the multiple team stakeholders. But I think the skill set that people have developed, the learnings that people have developed, and Agile is giving that place to us. Okay, start from the scratch. You can get involved from the scratch. There is a place that the principle says that you can get involved. So yes, those benefits are out there, but I don't relate Agile just to the software industry. I check it across industries. I know a couple of my friends who are working into mechanical, and even they talk about Agile. They talk about, okay, this is my delivery pipeline cycles and how exactly we have done innovations out there for the delivery. No tester is there. It is just the mechanical engineers who are working out there. So that's my perspective out there.
Thank you, Ravinder. Now we'll move to Sachin. So both questions for you together, Sachin, the waterfall and the agile one. And then if you think that we were given a place of respect right from the days when this was invented, or we had to kind of make place for ourselves.
Yeah, so again, two questions, so slightly more time. First is, like you said, I will not agree. I cannot imagine the QA processes without Agile because I haven't worked in any project. Even though if I have worked, I don't recall it. So that's the impact that project had. Why? Because I'll tell you, the small analogy, if a 2-year-old child, you ask him to drink plain milk, he will drink it. Unless he came to know that adding a sugar will make this milk sweet. The day he came to know that milk can be sweet by adding sugar, he will never accept plain milk. So I am a child who always drank sweet milk. So I do not accept the plain milk. That's my answer to this. That's one. Second is, do testing was there in their mind when they created this manifesto and the principle. So I have got opportunity to talk to some people who are actually signatory of this manifesto. I've taken my training from one of them. So I know what was the spirit, and I just want to transfer exactly same what they said to me is, the first principle of agility says our highest priority is to deliver an early, continuous and valuable software for satisfying the customer. So we know how we deliver early is we have cycle, sprint and iterations. We know how to deliver continuous, we have this pipeline. But how we deliver valuable is we need someone who actually assess that value for the customer. So if not tester, anybody who is doing quality check for you, I mean, he's ensuring the quality for you, that is needed. You call it tester or you name it Sachin. But there has to be some person who should take care of this. 7th principle of agility says working software is primary measure of progress. What is working software? It's not that executable software. You wrote code and it is executing. No, working means for what intent it is made. Is it working for that? Who will check it? Testers, right? So testing was always there when they created this manifesto and thing. The problem happened is, and there is very short story that I want to share. It's very related to this context. This guy living in Rishikesh, his name is Ramesh. He somehow figured out that Shiva is the most easily accessible God. So if you pray for 48 hours, he will come and he'll bless you whatever you want. He figured out that. So he said, okay, I have some desire to fulfill. I will pray for Shiva. And he prayed, and then after 24 hours, Shiva, he got happy and he got present in front of Ramesh and he said, tell me, what do you want? So I told Ramesh that please ask, because I am speaking in conference, please make it little early. So Ramesh said, okay, I want 2 things, best lady, best drink. That's all. Shiva said, okay, tathastu. So I'll disappear, you just turn around and you'll see it. So Shiva went, he just turned around and he saw Mother Teresa and Ganga Jal. The point is, what is best lady for that guy is not best lady for Shiva. What is the best drink for that guy is not best drink for Shiva. The problem is when this Shiva has made this principle, these people have assumed it a different way and now they are selling it in that way. Martin Flower called it semantic diffusion, changing of the original thought of author, converting it into your language and then completely changing the meaning of it. Because of that only. And now these so-called coaches and masters, they actually do not know how to talk about this thing. The Barelvi Saab, they said that अंदाजे बयां हर बात की अहमियत बढ़ा देता है, वरना इस जमाने में नई बात कोई नई बात नहीं. So you need not to say new things, but उसको अंदाजे बयां you have to, keep exactly same spirit through which it is made. So it made through testing. Testing was there, it is there, and it will definitely be there if you are following agile processes. And there are a lot of things that we can discuss about it, but I think it's good point from my end to justify that I believe there was testing.
And we believe so too. And Sachin, and since I'd like to take a moment here and say that I can see a great turnout of people in the audience who are here with us today, and I can see the chat box almost getting full. People are writing in so many questions. We will come back to you guys. We would just quickly finish, and I know the last 15 minutes we kept just for the awesome queries that you have. There's one which is from Brijesh Dev, and we'll come to it. Since Sachin was talking about the child knowing that sweet milk is there, then somebody, so Brijesh has gone out and asked what he knows about 2 flavors, So we will touch upon that because that is one of our questions as well. So what do you have to say, Ankur? If you were to ask you that, do you think we were given these principles were written for testing, or they took testing as a baseline when they were writing about it?
Right. So yeah. So as agile probably is not only for one single industry. So I would recon to what others have said, that it's not only for testers, but in IT, in software development, it has definitely given much power or given much better visibility to testing. As like people can start engaging, the testers can start engaging in the very starting, defining and reviewing the acceptance criteria, or probably even questioning them to have them more inclusive, have more details around that. So it has definitely added advantage for the testers, but I would say that it's not like created just to help testers. It's to help everyone deliver a better quality, but gives more power because, or you'd say that it was a ignored child. So anything done has given more weightage to the testers.
Makes sense. Devyani, do you believe the same, or there's a different thought process there?
Yeah, it's the same because see, agile values don't mention any development, testing, BA or anything, any other role. These are general lines, these general principles. We just need to read between the lines. We need to understand what can we take for a QA out of it, which will make use for us. So I think what values we can take is communication, collaboration, efficiency, flexibility. These are going to help us. So let's say like one of the principles is working software over comprehensive documentation. So working software who will ensure anybody who's testing. It can be anybody. Then comprehensive documentation is generally taken as no documentation. But that is not the case. It means lean documentation. And testing cannot do without documentation. We can reduce, but in certain industries we can't even do that. For example, I have worked with pharmaceutical domain. There, the details which are required is that much. If your tester is writing pass or fail, even that time is recorded. The test execution time, every test case has to have an e-signature by the tester as well as the reviewer. So it depends from the industry to industry, domain. It is domain specific. What principles would you like to adapt, and to what detail are you going to adopt? But I don't think that testing is a stepchild at all. Everybody, these values are to help testing in any which way.
Thank you, guys. And I think the people who are absolutely from the testing fraternity are very, very happy and very proud to know that no, we are not the stepchildren. We have never given the stepmotherly treatment. But thank you very much. I think those are very valid points coming from each one of you. And you're right. The baseline is there. They've given us the values. Now, how you interpret it is, exactly your choice. How you pick it up, how well you are able to understand, comprehend, and then implement. So I think that comes from being able to actually understand the need as to what we want, your own needs, which is very crucial. A lot of times we don't know what we want, and till the time we are able to put our needs into tangible asks, it is very difficult to pick up a process and implement it also. So yeah, you said how smartly we do it, and I know we are running out of time. So one quick last question, maybe not last, but yeah, I want to understand from you guys. There's a concept of tools, and all of us have heard that term, tools. Now I want to understand from you, what do you understand by the term tools when I talk it in terms of agility and testing together? Now, what tools do you think are important, are required, or what do they actually mean? So how about I start with Ravinder?
Sure, Anmol. So see, if we say about tools in Agile or tools in Agile testing out there, so tool can be anything, be it the people involved, be it the processes involved. So these are few of the important parts, right? Either we call them tool or how exactly you view. If we specifically see about the tangent tools, right? So generally, like people say Jira, whether it is important or not. So again, that depends on the need, because frankly, we used to do all this sprint planning, all those things using stickies, and frankly, I still like it. But considering how globalization has come into picture, now my team is situated in 7 countries and we have to collaborate. So obviously the stickies will not work out there, right? So it's more around, I would say, a choice that can fit for a collaboration between your team. So that comes. But obviously there will be some certain set that will be important, like the people, the mindset of those people, the practices that you take it up. Those are few of the mandatory tools, I would say. And again, this set of tangible optional tools that can be a fitment. If you have a co-located team, I think stickies and something onto your wall is the best tool for your agile stuff. Why not? So that can be a call taken based on how exactly your team fits out there. For me, everything is customization. Whatever customizes, reduces my cost, that's a fitment there.
I love Ravinder's take. He's stuck to one thing, it's customization. I customize it to fit my needs. So he's very clear that you give me the baseline, I'll build my own building. I don't need you to give me the building. I'll build it on my own. Just give me a foundation. And that, I think, is a great thought there. Devyani, what do you say?
Right now, I can't even imagine the world without tools. We cannot operate properly if there are no tools. We are having this discussion because of Google Meet. Similarly, in order to collaborate, in order to communicate with our team members, we are using MS Teams or we are using Zoom in our offices. So for collaboration and communication, which is the basic principle of Agile, tool is very much required. And I also feel that it brings in more transparency. So starting from the topmost management person who might want to see whether my resources are being properly utilized or not, or what is the project status, to being a developer who would want to see how many defects have been logged against my name. So this can happen only because of tools, because that will be a common platform wherein all the status will be updated. Right? So it brings in transparency. It brings in, I would also say it helps in faster resolution of blockers also. So you have instant messaging tool. Just mention that this is a blocker which I am facing for a release, and the person who's going to work on it will see it and resolve it. So really, like, if tools are not there, then how are we going to communicate? How are we going to collaborate? And another thing which I feel is it brings in greater efficiency. So if there is a tool which will help me in logging a bug, in taking screenshots quickly, and probably reproducing the steps also for me, that will save so much of a tester's time. So if per bug I am able to save even 5 minutes and I log 10 bugs in a day, then 50 minutes per tester are saved. Now look at the productivity. It will increase by 50 minutes. So tools are a must, I feel. And we as testers should keep on evolving, should keep on using new tools and suggesting new tools to our management, which help in increasing our efficiency and ultimately the productivity of whole team.
Fair enough. Ankur, your thoughts on tools?
Yeah, so tools, I'll also say tools are very essential, because I don't think any project would have all people like working from one single location. And with the situation that we have right now, so we can't meet every day, we can't speak together. So it's like one single repository where everyone sees everything, all information is there. So tools are definitely essential. What level of tooling you'll require, or what kind of tool you'll require, that would again depend upon how much the organization wishes to invest and what fulfills the need. So tooling cannot be ignored in today's world, but what fits best in for the project, for the organization, would vary from for each of them.
Definitely. Sachin.
So yeah,
emphasis was because I agree, guys. So that's why it was a quick Sachin.
In fact, I also agree with everything what they said. I would like to add one more thing on top of that. Tools are important, but there is a sentence that says a fool with tool is still a fool. If you not have a person who can utilize the potential of that tool. So see, tool does not empower you. Your capacity to utilize the potential of that tool. Excel. So we had this discussion earlier in a group where we had a lot of very intelligent testers, and we were debating about Excel is a testing tool or not. The test chat group are talking about, and then Excel can be used as a testing tool, but you should know what are the facility or capability that Excel have, and do you have that capability to find out the potential from that tool. Rajesh is saying, or somebody saying, that you should not mention Selenium. Well, I will not mention any tool if you have a great person in your team. This tool is very important, and you have to understand how you're gonna integrate this tool with whatever tool you have, because having tool does not make you a great player. I mean, Lionel Messi does not have football. In his childhood, he's a great footballer. Anil Ambani's or Mukesh Ambani's this son have a lot of footballs, but they are not footballers. So having tool does not help you if you do not have that attitude or that capacity of how to utilize it. So agree on the point. Tools are important. They are making your life easy. That's what innovation is and how we are interacting with the tool. But then the attitude of utilizing the tools are really very important.
Very well said. I agree. Tools, and I also agree with one of the most important things that all of us have probably said. So tools are basically categorized into two parts. One is the people. I think people are the centric tool. And we are the ones who are using everything else. So tools like things to automate or test management tools or test case management tools, they are our helpers. But the biggest tool for any industry is the resource, because that's the resource, that's the person who actually uses everything else, puts the mind to creating those tools, and then puts the mind to actually using those tools as well. So yes, that's a very important point. Now, guys, what we'll do is we'll take some quick questions. But the questions do not mean, taking questions does not mean that we are ending the session. Before the end of the session, please stick around, because we have one very important final question for each of the panelists, but we'll come back to it later. Now, I'll pick up certain questions here. The first question, which I really liked was, and that came from Vijesh, and it was the first question: is agility limited to shift left? Simple. We've been using the shift left word a lot. Is agility limited to shift left? Who would like to take this? Between Ankur and Sachin, either one of you raise your hands and I'll give it to you, because I know both of you talked a lot about shift left. Okay, Sachin is the one. Okay, Sachin, why don't you take that up?
Actually, I haven't heard it clearly, but I want to take the question. Can you please repeat it?
Is agility limited to shift left? We have used the term shift left a lot of times, but is agility and shift left synonymous? Is that all that is to agility, or there's more?
Well, absolutely not. Shift left is not related to agility. See, agility is what we call the agile or anything. These are the adjective that can be said with any of your situations. So right now, if you are not even shifting to left, if you are not getting, so in my company, I have some of the tester where entire team is not following agile processes, but these guys doing his work in agility. So he collaborate with people. He make sure that customers are. He has empathy with the customer and a lot of stuff. So the point is, wherever you are, at Dave Thomas, he is one of the core member of the Agile Manifesto. What he says, wherever you are, stand there, evaluate at what point you are, take one step, a small step towards your goal, and then again evaluate where you are. So it's not important you have to have extreme left to start thinking where you are. At any point in time, if you realize that, okay, I have to bring agility into my work, it's all about awareness. It's all about desire of having agility. It's not important to bring into the left, but if you want more benefit, I mean, if you want to eat mangoes, eat in August. If in December also you can eat mangoes, right? But if you want real taste, eat in August. So shift left is not limited to agility, or it's not limited to that. But if you want most benefit, shift left, do agile, get whatever you want. So it's believe, perceive, and achieve. Shift left.
Got it. We believe in perceiving and achieving, Sachin. There's another very nice question which I like. So, guys, I'm randomly picking up questions, so it is based on my liking here. Sorry, but so there's one of the and I think it's very pertinent, because all of us have, in one way or the other, or are still doing it. We are working in multi-vendor environments, where we have multiple vendors working for us, or we are one of the multiple vendors working for an organization. Now, somebody said that in a scenario of microservices around core products. So let's not stick to that. But the question here would be, in a multi-vendor kind of environment, what is the best approach that we can adopt from the agile principles? How does that help us the best? Since we are working in different, So I will pass on this question to Ravinder, because I know he mentioned he's working with 7 geographies he mentioned. So I'm not sure different vendors or not, but let's hear your thought on this.
No, you rightly pointed out, Anmol, even we are working in a multi-vendor. So currently, even in my single project, we are 6 vendors team that is working. And even within the QA, we are from 4 vendors working out there. So see, there are multiple things that we can define as a team, but certainly what I think more important here is collaboration and self-organization. So frankly, I think someone also put into the chat whether we need managers in agile team or not, right? So that I would again say the word customization. That's more around the need for that whether we customize, but your team should be capable of that they can self-organize. And if you can self-organize with multiple vendors, you can share that mindset out there, because finally everyone's target is delivery. So I consider, and frankly, what we have implemented and suggested to our client was, okay, give that handhold practice into hand of the team, not actually the managers out there, and let them organize it. And frankly, we have measured our productivity has increased by 40%, even though we are working in a multi-vendor team by self-organizing. So that was even our selling point out there when we solved it. Even though there will be certain leads who are leading in capabilities, even though there will be certain people who are leading from the skill set side. But if your team can self-organize your roles, your skills, and on the delivery, that's the best thing as a multi-vendor team we can capture from agile.
Great. I think that's good. And Ravindra has stuck to his point of customization. I'm very happy. That is the kind of conviction we look at. You are not being taken. Everything comes back to the same thing. So that's a great thing. Okay. There's another question that I would take. Probably we still have time. And I'm going through the questions, guys. Somebody said something about user stories and acceptance criteria, and I'm trying to find that question and I lost it somewhere. So guys, if you've actually written it, please write it back again. I have to scroll up to see the right question. But then there was one that I really liked, and I'm kind of trying to go back to that. Yeah. So, there is one question where somebody said that testers, we get both negative and positive feedback. And how in the agile way of things, how do you incorporate both? So I know there are multiple meetings we have, or multiple ways where we incorporate the negative feedback. Can you also define some that you use in your projects? So what kind of feedback you get from the customers, how you get it, and how you kind of implement it in your agile way of working? How about Devyani? We get this answer from you.
Again, I'll take the question, but you'll have to repeat it for me.
Okay.
The voice was breaking.
That's okay, guys. So my question was that, how do you get feedback? And when you do get feedback, it could be both negative and positive. How do you implement it in your way of working when you're following this agile process? How do you implement feedback? What are the different steps that you take?
Feedback is very, very important. I think that is why we have those retrospective meetings, the sprint review meetings. We have to continuously improve. We have to understand what are the lessons learned after every sprint, and we should incorporate it to make ourselves better. So like I said, there should be a constant focus on continuous improvement, because there is always a scope to learn, to improve, and to be more innovative, right? So unless we specifically look at feedback, if it is negative, I think it's even better. That helps you improve. And positive will help you in doing better what you're already doing good. So feedback should be taken very positively, and it should be well thought of. Like the complete team should sit and prepare an action plan on this is the feedback and this is our action plan and this is what we are going to achieve in near future. Like these are the low hanging fruits. We can do it in the next sprint itself, or this we can incorporate in near future. So I think this is how we should take this up. Prepare an action plan.
Fair enough. So, you do an RCA the moment you get feedback, what went wrong, why it went wrong, and then like you said, you prepare an action plan as to how you can better it. Somewhere I think feedback in itself is a very negative word. I don't know if you people believe the same or not, but that's how. Yes, Ravindra, please.
See, frankly, what I believe is feedback is never negative, right? Even negative words should not be with the feedback. Feedback is either constructive or either positive. So either it is a motivation or either it is a constructive for you that what you can get positive out of it. So that's why I was contradicting with you. Feedback is never negative.
Okay, so you didn't let me finish. I did not say feedback is negative. I said feedback is a negative word somehow. When we associate a kind of vibe with certain words, when it comes to feedback, we automatically assign a negativity to that particular word. But if we have to see it, feedback is, like you said, it is constructive. And there's an art of giving feedback. I guess all of us, and that's a different discussion for some other time. There's an art of giving feedback, how you bring out the best so that the other person can actually, I need to tell you were not good. There are 10 ways of giving it. One is where you will never come back from it. The one is where you will come back stronger from it and work on it. So yeah, that was good. So somebody posted that question again. This is around documentation, guys, where somebody said, in the agile environment, we talked that we should have lean documentation, right? And Devyani talked about it also. Now, somebody is asking that do we really need to write test cases, or we can just keep the user stories and acceptance criteria as the base documents and kind of, what is the best approach? And I know we discussed a lot about it in the TTC group recently about how important test cases are and all. Ankur, so I'll have a very third eye view here. So Ankur, why don't you tell me how important is documentation, and to what extent we should do it, and where all we should do it, and we can kind of skip it in which areas?
Absolutely. So yeah. So I guess the question is like, if we have the acceptance criteria, why do we need to document test cases? So acceptance criteria might be talking about only the positive thing, right? So positive thing can be achieved in multiple ways, or probably it might even say that, okay, you should not be able to do this. So there can be multiple ways or multiple roles to wherein you can do this activity. Like if I again go back to insurance, for example, so a sub XYZ or a broker should be able to see some specific information, or the user story might say that, okay, this information should be visible, but should it be visible for various roles? Or there can be multiple iteration or multiple ways you can reach to a screen. So we need to document so that we are able to think that, yeah, option 1, option 2, option 3, or there are multiple ways to do this. So, and personally also, if I write, I think more. That's what happens with me. If I start documenting things, so my brain starts working more efficiently. So I would still go with that. Okay, yes, we should do document the test cases. It might be that, okay, at what level we have to do it, that might be different. But yes, definitely, I am a person who would say yes, documentation helps you think better, and it would say that, okay, yes, if someone is reviewing those test cases, so that would also add a stamp over there. Yes, there are no other ways to do it. And if you are just like testing what it comes to your mind, there's no way to validate if you've done things rightly or not.
And I think I kind of agree to what you're saying, that yes, it kind of serves as validation. And I think somewhere when we just start working, a lot of our managers tell us that documentation is to safeguard your interests. So you can always go back and tell them that you are not the one at fault here. You did your bit. So take the screenshots, write down your steps and stuff. So yeah, we've gone through that. We've been there and all. I think that is as many questions that we could take, and we will get back to you on the rest of questions offline. But before we kind of sign off, like I said, there's something very important that I'd like to ask each one of the panelists here. Since I know everybody took some time, came here, they were expecting a good discussion around agility and testing, and which I hope we've been able to provide one for you today. But when you go back from this discussion, there has to be one or more takeaways from all that we talked about, because there are certain things that kind of stick in your head when you're walking out of a room when you've had some conversations with people. Now, I would ask each one of you individually that if you were to send people away with parting thoughts around this whole topic, this subject, what would it be? So we will start exactly with you, Ankur. What would be your parting thoughts for the people today?
Okay. So I'd say agile is somewhat related to the human behavior also. So most of the people, they want to learn and improve themselves. And that's the way agile also works. You do something, you learn, you improve yourself. So that's like building yourself also. So as like, I guess most of us had the similar thought that Agile is gonna stay. So I would also say that, okay, yes, we should invest more on, or probably not invest, but probably adopt ourselves to ways of working in Agile, because that would not only have a positive impact on how you deliver things, the quality, but it would also probably improve you as a person. In our hindsight, we sometimes forget on don't emphasize much on learning and developing ourselves. So Agile also gives you a platform wherein, like, if I can give an example that, okay, if a person is not there, you can acquire more skills, improve yourself. So Agile is the way of working. If not in your project, you can improve yourself by like thinking in an Agile way.
Thank you, Ankur. And that
Thank
was
you.
Devyani. What do you have to say to this?
So definitely Agile is a mindset. It is a thought process. Anybody who wants to be Agile, or any organization which wants to be Agile, should bring it that cultural change into people, and people should agree to it. There should be a buy-in from all the stakeholders that yes, we are going to adopt Agile because it is people driven. We can get in processes, we can get in tools, but people have to accept, and people have to participate fully with their 100% involvement. Then only an organization can be Agile. That is the first thing. And second thing I would like to tell my QA fraternity friends over there is that be proactive, take initiative. Even if there is a thought process somewhere that we are a stepchild, or we are not given that much importance, be important and show your importance. Even if you're not being asked, give your inputs, because you know the product best, you know your customer. So what is stopping you? And plus, now you can adopt technologies, you can learn so many new tools. So be at the top of the game, get involved and innovate yourself, and try to use innovative methods to make things faster and reduce, and try to find out what are the opportunities for improvement in the whole process. And even if you're a junior most member in the team, don't think that you cannot voice out your concerns. So go ahead and feel free to give your point of view, whether it is to business, or in terms of improving technology, or in terms of improving process. That's my say. Thank you.
Beautifully put, Devyani. Thank you very much for that. Ravinder, we would like to hear your thoughts.
Sure. So for me, first thing will be like Sachin and Devyani mentioned, right? Make a common understanding, at least within your team, right? Read between the lines. So it should not be that you have 10 members in the team and 10 have a different definition of Agile. Customize it, but at least make it consistent within your team, right? And second thing, specifically for the QAs, I would like to say that these practices, these principles has given us that right that we can now stand in the front. So take that part, involve from the start itself. So earlier the process itself used to say, okay, development will be free and then the QAs will come into picture. But now the process is giving you that freedom. Now the process is giving you that right. So take your place, be it rightfully or be it forcefully. Take it.
I like that. Make your place, guys. Whichever ways you find it convenient, but yes, make your place. Thank you so much, Ravinder. Sachin.
Yeah, so my takeaways would be, I'll give a pointer to audience because they have joined, and thank you very much for everybody to join and listen to us. I mean, it's a good number. Always had 70, 75, 80 people and they were listening, commenting to us. So I will give you a bullet point of what I understood and what I take as a takeaway from this discussion. First is, remember, testing is not going anywhere. Testers are going if they are not adaptive. That's one thing. Second, of course, a fool with tool is still a fool, so don't go. Just buy them. Hire the people who have capability to interact with those tools. The third one that I think Ankur and Ravinder, they both said this thing, that you have to learn from your experiences. They have a lot of experience and they learn it. So I would say, just to make it little jazzy, in Dangal, he said, "Seekhna bhulo, pehle bhulna seekho." So forget learning. First learn, forgetting what you have already learned, which is not right actually. So you have to communicate with people, join communities like TTC and ANI and other communities, in network with people. If you're not networking, you're not working, right? So if you're working, you have to network with people. So be part of that and then learn from their experiences. Don't learn from anywhere, or don't relearn, unlearn things that you have learned. So that's the third takeaway. And fourth one is, it's very important that you have to have faith in your capabilities. Testers. So our motive when we say about this channel of TTC, we say that you're a tester, you're a champion. Believe in yourself, because faith creates strength. And Rahat Indori says, and this is best line to end this, he says that na kisi hum safar na hum nashi se niklega, hamare paon ka kaata hum hi se niklega. So we have to take care of ourselves. We have to believe in ourselves, and that faith in yourself will create strength for you. And then sky is the only limit. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sachin. Very beautiful lines, and I totally agree. Like I said, thank you each and every one of you for taking out the time today, and the takeaways or the major points that everyone has put. I guess they all, if I were to summarize everything, and thank you for hearing me out more, I guess. But yeah, I believe in one thing, that coming together in itself is a beginning. The moment you all come together, you begin. And we are so focused on our destination, we forget the path we take. The agile way of working has shown us that path. We are a part of that path now. We are walking together. As testers, I think we were always there, closer to the stop line, but now destiny is not the right word. People, the intelligent minds have come up with this thought where where they are telling us that how you get to your destination is equally important. So utilize that privilege that we've been given as a part of being agile. And there's one more thing, guys, that I really believe, that failure is not fatal. We will fail. That is who we are as persons. We will fail. Failure is not fatal, but the failure to change is fatal. If we do not agree to bring about that change in us, which all of us have said in one way or the other, which is the basic principle of agile, which is the basic principle of testing, that you have to have the adaptability and the adaptability to change. That is what will work for you. So all in all, great discussion. One last parting thought that I would like to give, and I believe in it, and it was there in my signature for a lot of years, and then I kind of changed it. Small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, great minds discuss ideas. It's always great minds, guys. We look forward to a lot of ideas from all of you. And thank you very much for logging in, for your time, for the questions. Thank you so much to the panelists. You have given so much time to this. Lovely thoughts, lovely takeaways. Thank you all. Have a great day.